What industries do you think will be most profoundly changed?
By IoT?
By IoT.
I mean, what we see right now across absolutely all industries, we see a profound effect of basically IoT. I mean, it's like we were talking about the oil companies, and I mean, obviously Accenture is working a lot with energy company like oil and gas, utilities, and so forth. I mean, those companies have been using a lot of industrial IoT, I mean, for many, many years, and we see that this is something also they're looking at. I mean, it's like we talk about safety, we talk about how we can make these things, I mean, more efficient, you know. Examples that we see, so we've been working with Marathon, which is an oil and gas company in Illinois. What they wanted to do is that they wanted to, again, go back to the safety, okay? Mm-hmm. And some of their workers were working, you know, in a very confined environment where you can have like a lethal gas. So they were equipped with jacket, and then basically there was an alarm, and when the alarm went off, we would expect that people would leave because there was a potential, you know, hazard somewhere, and they had to do something about it. They didn't do anything. So we had to basically bring other devices to do triangulations and stuff like that, find where those people were, so that basically we could rescue them by sending a team over there. And the story was, I think, pretty flabbergasting, is that because the people basically that would be rescued eventually, you know, we would terminate their contract because, I mean, they take too much risk. Those people were more scared to lose their job than to lose their health or their life, you know? And so I think using this kind of technology and everything, you can do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's going to touch almost everything. I mean, you know, so in LA, I did a lot of talking and interacting with folks who are doing IoT. And cities are filled with lots of things, right? In LA, there are 215,000 streetlights that are all mesh networked and controllable individually, right? All the fire trucks, all the rescue ambulances, all the police cars, all the police officers, all of the parking meters, all the stoplights, they're all connected. LA has this, it's probably the most, in fact, it actually won a couple of awards for being literally the most digitally connected city in the country. And yes, I will say that right here, very happily. And I know San Jose is right there, and I know San Francisco is there, and forget it. But the fact of the matter is that nobody cares. What they care about is the fact that once a second, the entire traffic system rebalances the load that is carrying over the network of streets to go and get you through the streets more quickly, right? Reduces transit times by about 14, 17%, right? Those streetlights, you know, people are beginning to figure out how you tie that to 911. So that, for example, when there's a 911 call that happens near, you know, from a place in the city, and there's about 3.5 million calls to 911, that the streetlights nearby brighten up, you know, as an example. That, you know, the fire department can take, at a glance, can know where every vehicle and every resource is across 465 square miles of city. And those are just simple examples, right? And I could go on and literally start talking about buildings, economic development, education, healthcare. It's all through everything.
It is, but I think there are some industries that will be kind of touched on a couple of different levels.
Sure.
And for that one, I would pick transportation.
Yep.
Because once objects are more efficiently produced,
Yep.
agricultural goods are more efficiently produced, there's going to be less call for trucking. So they're going to get it on the autonomous vehicle front, the demand front. You know, there are certain areas that are going to really feel the efficiency gains.
Yeah, labor is, I mean, until I took the job, I never worked in the government before, but I made a lot of video games and things like that. But when somebody mentioned to me, and I had never worked with a representative labor force before, or civil service, and that's a whole set of interesting things. But when somebody mentioned that that the cloud equaled outsourcing, it's like, okay, that's interesting. But then when you get into self-driving vehicles, well, okay, let me ask you this. What is everybody's car doing right now? Like right now, what is your car doing?
Sleeping in a garage, that's right.
If it's self-driving, you know, go off and do something useful, right? Just get on out of here, right? Because right now we only use our cars 4 or 5% of the time that we own them. And every person here spends on average across the United States 54 minutes commuting every day, $6,000 to own a private vehicle, right? A year. And so then, to your point, do we need as many vehicles when my car, which I don't really care is mine, I just need access to it, is off doing something more useful for somebody else?
Yeah.
And that's really
From
what
a
it comes
city
down
planner's perspective, it's just an unbelievable sea change,
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
And
You wipe out something
Yeah.
like 7/8 of the cars on the street.
Yeah.
No more parking lots, no more parking garages,
But no more parking tickets.
no more parking tickets.
There's an interesting knock-on effect.